Wow, with less than 60 hours until Bitcoin's third halving, will we see a one last major pump or will we see a major dumpage? Bitcoin getting a very small rejection off of this 2.5-year structural top of the symmetrical triangle and as well the golden pocket of the past 2.5 years. Could we see a bounce going forward? Momentum is building on the smaller time frames, but can it pick up and can it keep up? And as well, with Paul Tudor Jones' recent investment acknowledgement into Bitcoin, will this lead to even more investors joining? I 100% think this is a huge possibility, and 2020 is going to be absolutely bonkers. And we'll speak a little bit more of what we talked about yesterday with Bitcoin's bouncing, some up to 50, 60, 70% in 24-hour time periods. And we'll talk about why we think this is a trend that is only just beginning, and there's much more of it going into the next 2 years. Saddle up, little ponies, let's get riding. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an extremely exciting Saturday update with Bitcoin, guys, with less than 60 hours until the third Bitcoin halving in history. So much excitement building. Now, will this culminate into a final push? Will the push continue after the halving, or will we see a much anticipated drawback? So much going on, guys, but there's just so much immense, even better news going on fundamentally in the space. This is really important. People are interested. People realize Bitcoin is not nearly as big of a risk as they once thought. In fact, other things that people used to have a lot of faith in, like fiat currencies, are actually falling by the wayside. Guys, wow, these things are just coming to fruition just like people predicted them years and years ago. It's absolutely wonderful. So guys, make sure if you want to enter to win these ledgers, make sure to smash ding, hit the comments, hit the subscribes, open your heart, and get munching. Wow, so let's dive into these charts. On the smaller time frames, guys, you see the last 3-4 hour candles, we have a little bit of an uptrend, getting a very strong bounce right around the $9,400 level. Now, there is a much lower pullback area if we were to see one, if this continues. But so far, it looks like sell pressure is still actually considerably low for what it could be. Now, I also want to say this. We've been saying this last few videos, but there's only been 2 other halvings, so there really is no precedent for what Bitcoin has to do. Okay, there's not one thing that Bitcoin has to do after this halving in less than 60 hours. It could continue to pump. It could drop massively. It's completely unpredictable right now. So I just want to make that aware to people that are watching. There's not one specific thing that Bitcoin does at a halving. There's only been 2 other ones. And the 2 other ones were slightly different, okay? So with more hype than ever, really, what could happen with Bitcoin? So let's actually switch over to the daily chart on Coinbase. You can see, again, we talked about this yesterday. We got a clear rejection at the top of the symmetrical 2.5-year triangle right here, which is also exactly where the golden pocket is of the last 365 days. The 0.618 is where we got our first rejection there. Now, guys, as we talked about yesterday, if we would break out, we would have this would spell major breakout, but we're not there quite yet. It's 10.5. So 10.5 obviously is the key level to look at to the upside. To the downside as well, I think that the $89,000 to $9,000 area, actually about $8,700 to $8,900, so a $200 window would be a really good pullback area where we could get a nice retracement and then continue to the upside. That's what we'd be looking for a short, quick reversal here on the shorter time frames. But as for now, Bitcoin did get a bounce right on the 94. So the question I want to ask you is, do you guys think this has enough juice to continue going into the halving? So there's a lot of evidence, and we're going to switch into that. A lot of evidence showing that, I mean, besides the fact there's so much hype, there is more confidence in Bitcoin than ever. And that's really important. That's incredibly crucial for Bitcoin space because that's something that has been historically lacking. There is less and less confidence in traditional currencies, and even something you could say is gold hasn't been performing as well. Bitcoin has been performing by far the best of any asset since its creation, but specifically over the past few months, which is actually mind-boggling that it's actually performing so well given the circumstance. So boy, does it feel good to get into Bitcoin. And guys, before we really jump into this really informative section of the video, I just want to point your attention. If you don't have a hardware wallet, guys, check out the links in the description. And if you want to learn my techniques for doing the technical analyzing, make sure to also check out the techniques there. Now, this is one of the biggest pieces of news that people are really excited about. So obviously, another billionaire has pretty much come out and said, hey, I'm invested into Bitcoin. Now, what does that matter? Why is that a big deal? So let's actually go through this article here published on Cointelegraph by Helen Partz. The BitMEX CEO, which is Arthur Hayes, expects investors to follow Paul Tudor Jones' move to Bitcoin. He's a billionaire, okay? He has invested. He's one of the biggest investors into cryptocurrency here. Legendary hedge fund investor triggered massive excitement in crypto markets about 2 days ago by revealing that Bitcoin is a part of his portfolio. I really doubt this guy is holding $2,000 worth of Bitcoin, okay? He's a billionaire. He could chuck a nice chunk of change into Bitcoin if he wanted to. And I'm sure he wants to. Traders and industry players like BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes expect that this move will bring even more big investors into the market, guys. Once you have your own peers, and we're talking from a billionaire standpoint, once billionaires see that their billionaire peers are investing into Bitcoin, do you think that makes them feel more comfortable or less comfortable investing? 100% it makes them feel more comfortable, okay? So Hayes is not alone in thinking this. For example, world-renowned Brian Kelly on CNBC discussed the potential impact of a billionaire investor Bitcoin news, saying it's paving the way for more hedge funds and mainstream investors to get into Bitcoin. Nobody wants to get outed having owned Bitcoin if it completely falls apart. But if you have more and more billionaires, coming out and saying it, it gives people more confidence, and people are not as afraid or embarrassed to get into such a risky asset. To end it here, Jones said Bitcoin reminds him of the crucial role gold played in the economic crisis of the 1970s. A capped supply is one of the big features here. Hyperinflation can never happen to Bitcoin, guys. And Kelly outlined that Bitcoin has a much higher upside and a better risk to reward ratio than gold. And guys, as we talked about in yesterday's video, altcoins are performing extremely well across the board. You see some certain coins not even that far down in the market cap absolutely exploding. So what is the reason for that? Well, for one, when Bitcoin pumps, and we're in the middle of it still kind of pumping, there is a very often correlation between Bitcoin flowing out into these other altcoins, okay? So Bitcoin is struggling to break the 10K mark. That is no secret. This is exactly where we found resistance, right at the 10K. It's literally right here. This was an expected resistance point without a doubt. It's definitely the biggest on the charts before getting a massive breakout. That is the last huge barrier before getting a massive breakout. So if we get in this article published by Michael Van de Poppe on Cointelegraph, the price of Bitcoin, top-ranked cryptocurrency by market cap, hit the psychological barrier of 10K. Now let's jump into this. Bitcoin is showing strength as the halving is approaching, with hype only increasing. Fear of missing out, or FOMO, is increasing as well, which makes people eager to step into Bitcoin and the price to rally heavily. However, is Bitcoin in a sustainable rally? Or will it be another buy the rumor, sell the news, similar to what happened last summer with Litecoin, where there was a massive pump? The markets rallied much more than we've actually seen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in fact, rallied from about $3,000 to $14,000 on anticipation and on hype of the Litecoin halving. Now, this is the Bitcoin halving, and Bitcoin has not nearly increased that much percentage-wise. Bitcoin's increased about $6,000 from the lows of a few months ago, $4,000 to about almost $10,000, when in the summer of 2019, Bitcoin went from $3,000 to $14,000, so almost twice the gains. $11,000 increase a year ago, only about a $6,000 increase so far this year. So again, there could be way more juice on the loose for Bitcoin. This guy could go much higher. Now, why though? It's because people are selling alts to catch up to Bitcoin. Now, a lot of coins like Link, Tezos, Ethereum have had a sell-off here, but around this time, altcoins started to bounce heavily and showing strength, resulting in the biggest alt season the market has ever seen. This is back in 2017, like we said. Once Bitcoin peaked at 20K, it took over a month for all of those other alts to peak. Okay, you had XRP going from like 25 cents to over like $3. Litecoin going from like $80 to over 300, even 400 on some exchanges. Massive, massive gainers. Now, even if you guys do not like altcoins, you cannot deny the inevitable truth that most likely we will see massive run-ups in many alts. There will be some alts that don't gain much. There probably will be alts that lose, but without a doubt, there is going to be money flowing in to some of these other altcoins if a ton of money continues to flow into Bitcoin. Okay, think of it like this. If you got a hot dog, you got to make sure you got a nice cold soda pop to drink it with, right? Hand in hand. Wow, what a great analogy. Okay, so basically the next big breakout target is getting above 10.5, and losing the 9.4 level would be a bearish signal for the market. We bounced basically exactly on 9.4. I think that losing the like $8,900 level personally would be much more detrimental. I put the target a little lower than this article, but basically kind of within that same range there. So we want to hold that, and we want to really see what goes on with the halving. So guys, awesome stuff. Make sure to check out the links in the description if you want to learn TA, lines, charts, and googly gop to create some really awesome knowledge, guys. I definitely advise it. I think the course is absolutely jam-packed full of knowledge, and the thing is, when you buy it once, you have it for life, so future updates will be for free. And enter the code JUICE at checkout for $40 off. Huge, guys. That is the reward for making it this far into this webisode. So guys, make sure to drop that comment, and I will see you in the next exciting webisode.